Hello everyone! Today we're going to take a look at how to work on assignments in Microsoft Teams. The first thing you're going to want to do is just log into your Microsoft Teams account. Once you've done that, you'll see that this is the first page you're brought to. And these are just all of the teams that you're in. So for our purposes today, we're just going to click on Division 1 because this is where our assignment is. And then once we're in here, we see that there are different tabs. We have the Post section, Files, Class Notebook, Assignments, and Grades. And we are going to click on Assignments. Once the assignments have opened, you'll see that there is an assigned section and a completed section. And if you want to open or close anything that is in the drop-down menu here, you can just use this arrow off to the side, and that'll bring down all of my completed ones. And if I wanted to hide them again, I could just click on this arrow here, and I can do the same with my assigned assignments. When I want to work on an assignment, I have to click on the assignment I want to work on, and then it brings me to a page that looks like this. And this has a lot of very important information that I don't want to ignore. The first part you'll see is just the title, and then you'll also see that there's a tag here, and that's usually just the subject that the assignment is associated with. Underneath that, you'll see the due date and then the time that it's due. Then you have the instruction section, and in here, this is very important to read because this is telling you everything you need to include, how to turn it in, all of that good information. And if you notice that there's something in blue writing in the instructions, that means that it's a link and you can click on it and it'll bring you to the page that your teacher wants you to view. Underneath that, if your teacher has attached something that they want you to look at, you'll see that there's a section called reference materials. And underneath here will be documents that you can view, but you cannot change. So if you wanted to look at the document, you just click on it to open it. You can read whatever is there, and then you can close out of it when you're done, and then you're brought back to this page. Once you're done looking at the instructions and then the reference materials, if there are any for your assignment, I would next look at the points and the rubric. Sometimes there won't be points for an assignment, but for this particular one, there are 100 points possible. And oftentimes when there are points associated with something, there's also a rubric. And if you click on the rubric, that'll show you exactly what your teacher is looking for. So it shows you from poor to excellent what that looks like, and then it tells you how much each section is worth. So for this assignment, I'm only being marked on my completion, but other assignments, you may have other sections that you're being marked on. Because this one only has one section, it's worth 100% of my grade. But if there were multiple sections, they could be weighted differently based on what your teacher is looking for. When you're done looking at that, you can just click on the close button. And then the last thing you'll want to look at is just the work section. So once you've read the instructions, you've checked the rubric, now you're ready to start working. Depending on what is said in the instructions, there may be an assignment attached here for you to work on, or you may need to work on it just with what you have at home and then take a picture of your stuff. If there is an assignment listed for you to work on, you can click on it to open it, and then from here, you'll be able to edit and make changes. You'll notice that when it's first open, it's quite small, so you'll want to adjust the zoom by going to View, clicking on Zoom, and then you can just choose how zoomed in you want it to be to make it easier for you to work on. I like just choosing 100%. I find that that is often good enough. And then once it's all zoomed in so I can read the instructions on it and I can see where I need to type, then I'm ready to start. So on this assignment, you can see that it says date, and then there's a spot here for me to type. So I can just click where I want to type. It opens up the box, and then I can put in what I need to. And you'll notice at the top here that it's saving automatically as I work. So there's no separate section for me to go and save something. It's already done for me. Once I'm done writing in a box, I can just click the next spot that I need to type, and that'll take me to it. Oftentimes, if there is somewhere that I want you to type, I'll put a box with a blank space for you to fill in, or I'll just put a box that says type here, and then you can click on it to start working. If there isn't a box and you need to type something, you can go to the Insert tab, click on Text Box, and then it will put one in for you. By clicking on it, you can drag it to where you want it to be, You can resize it just by dragging in the end, and then that will allow you to type in the box as well. If you need to change the size of your font, or you just want to change what the font looks like, you can do that by going to the Home tab and just changing the font and the size from here. If you haven't started typing and you know you want to change the font, you can do that from the very start. Or if you've already got something typed in here, you can just click and highlight over top of everything that you want to change, and then you can go back in with your work highlighted to change what you'd like. Once you've made your changes and you're ready to submit your work, or if you just need to take a break and come back to it, again, it saves automatically, so you can just click on Close, and then your work will be there when you're ready to submit it. If you need to add a picture, you have to click on the Add Work button. And then from here, if you have something saved on your device that you're using and you want to attach it, you click on the button that says Upload from this device. This then brings up all the files on your computer. You can click to find where your file is, select what you want to add, and then hit Open. This then just uploads the file, and when it says that it's uploaded, you can click on the Done button, and then you can see that it's attached there. If it's a picture of your work, before you click on the Turn In button, you always want to click on the image and just make sure that it's clear. Because if it's a blurry picture, your teacher isn't going to be able to read it to give you a grade. So you always want to go back in and double check that it is readable. So this one looks nice and clear, so then I can just close out of it, and I would be ready to turn it in if I was done everything else. If my picture wasn't clear and I needed to take a better one and then switch it out, I would just click on the three little dots, hit remove, that would take this picture away, and then I could upload my new one. Once I've got everything done exactly how I want it, then I can click on the Turn In button and it'll send my work to my teacher. You also get a fun little animation there, it usually changes every time. Once you click on that Turn In button, your work has now been sent to your teacher and you can no longer make any changes to it, unless you click on the Undo Turn In button to take it back. Once you've done that, it unlocks your assignments and allows you to add some more work if you need to, or just make changes to what you already have there. I also wanted to point out this button here, and when you hover over top, it says Immersive Reader. And this is a button that you can click on from the very start. When you click on it, it brings you to this screen here. And what this allows you to do is hear the assignment instructions read to you. So if you're someone who doesn't really want to read it by yourself, or it just makes more sense when you can hear somebody else reading it, you can click on that button and then hit play, and it will read to you all of the instructions for the assignment. Then you can just go back by clicking on the back arrow, and it takes you back to the screen. Once you're done working on this assignment completely, you've turned it in, made any changes that you need to, you can click on the back arrow here, and that takes you back to all of your other assignments, and you'll be able to keep working on those. Once it has loaded and refreshed and everything like that, this assignment, once it's been turned in, will eventually show up underneath completed. If you're working on something in the assignment tab, and in the instructions it tells you to complete something in Class Notebook, you can go from the assignment section over to the Class Notebook tab, and this will open up the notebook for you. From here, you'll see a welcome page. You can get to where all of your sections are by clicking on this arrow in the corner. The first few sections you can just ignore, we're not really going to be using them, but the one that has your name on it, when you click on that, that'll pop out all the folders that are your subjects. So let's say I wanted to work on something in PE. I could click on the PE folder, and then I can see all of the pages in that folder here. This one only has one page, but if there were multiple, I could click on the one I want to work on from here. When you've got the one highlighted that you need to work on, you can click off to the side, and then that is going to open it up a bit larger for you. From here, you can start adding your work. You can double click to add a text box, or you could go to the drawing tool, pick your color, and start drawing away. So if I chose blue, I could start drawing. If I needed to erase something, I just click on the eraser and I can get rid of it. And when I'm done using the drawing tools, I can get back to my regular clicker or my mouse just by clicking over here. When you draw something or you add a text box, it will stay where you put it on the page, even if you're scrolling up and down. The text boxes can be a little bit finicky to use, so if there isn't already a text box here for you to work in, I would try to use the drawing tool as much as possible. If you need to get back to all of your other pages or sections, you just click on this arrow again, and then you can see them all here. If you ever need to add a page, you can do that just by clicking on the Add Page button, and then that is adding a page to whatever section you have highlighted over here. So you could give it a title and then start working away. If you decide that you don't actually need that page, you would right-click on the page, and then you can hit Delete Page. Make sure it is what you want to do though, because it is permanently deleted. So when you click on that, it's now gone. If you make a mistake with the drawing tool or with a text box, or if you accidentally delete something that you shouldn't have, you can go over to the Home tab and click on the Undo arrow, and that will fix that mistake for you. If you close out of this section though and try to get back to it, that undo arrow won't work. So if you make a mistake, make sure you go to that undo arrow right away. If you want to work on your class notebook in a different tab, you can always go to Open in Browser, click on the little down arrow, and then it gives you a few options to choose from. So if you're opening it in another browser, it just opens another tab on your desktop, or if you have the app installed, you can also open it through that. Changes made in Class Notebook do save automatically, so you don't have to worry about clicking an additional Save button. If there's something that is supposed to be in your class notebook and you're not seeing it, it could be a problem with it syncing from computer to computer. So if you want to refresh the page, there are a few different ways to do that. You could go just to any random page in your book, click on the drawing tool, just kind of draw something random, and then delete it. And that should refresh the section. So whatever page you were looking for should now pop up. You can also just add a page and then delete it. And that just helps to kind of wake up the page and it refreshes whatever should be there. So that's just another quick tip to know. When you're done working in Class Notebook and now you're ready to go back and submit the assignment, you can go right from Class Notebook over to Assignments, find the one that you just completed, and then click on the Turn In button from there. When your teacher returns an assignment that you've completed, you'll get a notification that shows up in the Activity section. And you can see those notifications by clicking on the activity icon, and it'll bring up a list of all of the new notifications. From there, you can click on the notification that you're looking for, and it will take you directly to the returned assignment so that you can look at your feedback. You can also view your feedback when your teacher has looked at one of your assignments by going to the assignment section, clicking on completed, and then you can click on the assignment that you're looking for from here. So let's say I want to look at my feedback on the math assignment. So I can click on it. There will be some written feedback in this section. I can see what I got for points, and I can also click on this rubric, and you'll see that it shows up in a dark purpley color. That's where my teacher has put me for this particular assignment. So I could see if it was up at the top here or if I got one of the lower ones. And if I read what was under here, that would tell me why I got that particular spot. In the written feedback, if your teacher asks you to turn something in again or fix something and turn it in, this is where you'd want to go. So if you needed to add another picture or change one that you had submitted, you could do it by clicking on the Add Work button here, and then you would just click on the Turn In Again button. If your teacher does not ask you to turn something in again, the feedback was fine, I got a good mark, I didn't have any questions about it, you do not need to click on the Turn In Again button. You only click on that if there was a problem with your assignment and your teacher asked you to fix something. Other than that, you just read your feedback and then you can go back and there's nothing else you need to do with that assignment. Another tab that's important to know about as you start completing more assignments is the Grades tab. When you click on the Grades tab, you're brought to all of the assignments that you've completed. You can see the due date, you can see the title, you can see the status of the assignment, and you can see if there was points associated with it, what you got. For the status, you might see viewed, and that just means that you've looked at the assignment, but you haven't turned it in yet. You might see one that says turned in, which means you've completed the assignment and you've turned it in. Or you might see returned. And returned means that your teacher has viewed it, given you feedback, and then sent it back to you. So those are all of the tips and tricks you should need to know to get started on your assignments in Microsoft Teams. This tutorial was done using a computer, so if you're using a device like a tablet or a phone, your buttons may be in slightly different spots, but for the most part, the program will work pretty much the same. You might also want to download some other apps on your tablet, such as PowerPoint and Word, because when you're editing work that has been assigned to you by your teacher, you'll need to open it up in those apps to actually make changes on it. If you have any questions or anything else that comes up, you can send me an email or you can post in our Microsoft Teams group, and I'll be sure to get back to you.